Alright, that's good enough for now.
Did I hear you say?
As I'm sure you guys heard just 3 seconds ago, that was my mistake whenever the screw bit popped off. So always get help when you're installing cabinets. One person to hold, one person to screw. Not one person to hold and screw and one person to hold the camera. One person to hold the cabinet and one person to use the drill. Definitely gonna save you. But all these screws, got 2 here and then 2 up a little bit higher. And those are gonna be hidden by the shelf, so I don't have to patch over those holes. So I'll go ahead and I'll install the shelves tomorrow or the next day, and then we'll put the doors back on, and that cabinet will be done. Was I falling down the stairs?
Yeah. Glad it's not just me.
No, we're both clumsy.
Perfect duo to do DIYs.
Right? It's kind of like a scary thought. Every time I do these DIYs, I'm just like, what if I just completely screw up?
Interesting. That doesn't really help. That doesn't give me a lot of confidence because I always am like, well, if he's confident, then he must know how to do it. But then hearing you say that, it's like,
No, because the worst thing, so it's worse, so we just take it off and throw it away, but I'm too stubborn to fail. It's one of the better qualities. Perfect. You don't think so?
Why are you gonna throw that at me?
It's one of my better qualities, right? Alright guys, I'm just using regular wood screws as you guys were just seeing into the back wall, but whenever you're doing it into another piece of plywood, make sure you use actual pocket screws. That way you don't poke through the other side, because if I was to use one of those long screws, I'd have a nice little screw going straight through it. So let's make sure we don't do that. Let's make sure we use pocket screws anywhere that we're going to go through plywood. Going into the walls, just use your regular wood screws. Alright guys, came into a little bit of an issue. The bottom board doesn't want to quite fit into the corner. So I'm going to go ahead and try to hammer it into place. It is ever so slightly off, so let's see what we can get done. Yeah.
You sure?
Yeah.
That face you made.
Mind coming and give me a hand?
Yeah.
I just hit my finger. Owie. Alright guys, I ran downstairs, got the spacers made. I forgot to cut those before I put the boards up. So I'm gonna quickly put them in. Unfortunately, because they went in first, it's gonna be hard to get some glue on them, but we're just gonna put as much as we can. And if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out, but we'll try to get a little bit of glue in there first. This would be so much easier if I had a nail gun. All right, so I got that board up there. It looks pretty good from a distance, but there's a couple gaps in there that are a little bit big. So I'm gonna go ahead and sand it down with some 80 grit sandpaper, and then I'm gonna put a little bit of wood filler in there to fill up that gap. But otherwise, the first shelf is set. I'm gonna leave this clamp here a little bit longer just because that glue wasn't quite fully dry, and those nails are just holding it in there for now. I wanna get a couple more in there after the glue is dry. So that's shelf number 1. 1 or 2 more shelves to go. Hazelverse hasn't decided yet, but we'll find out soon. I'll check back in after I am done sanding this thing down. All right, so we've got all the nail holes filled. Any little gaps are also filled, so we had a little bit of a gap along the top and bottom and a couple spots. So I just went ahead and filled that with some wood filler. I like the color changing wood filler just because it tells me when it's dry and I'm ready to start sanding. And then we also got the nail holes on the top and the bottom. So I'm just gonna let that sit overnight, sand it down in the morning, and then we can start building the upper shelves as well. Craig screws the side next to plywood. Don't make that mistake like I almost just did. We're gonna put glue on both sides of the strips this time. That way when we push it up, we got glue on both sides. We don't have to like try to slide it in. Alright guys, so this glue is set up enough that we can put some nails into this. So I'm just going to go around, I'm going to put one nail about every foot, top and bottom, and then we'll go ahead and get this front face put on. So let's go ahead and start doing that. Alright guys, so let's go ahead and just dry fit this in there. Let's go ahead and put glue on both sides. We're going to push it in, and then we're going to have to put some finishing nails to hold it in place while that glue dries. And then we'll go back and add more finishing nails later. So let's go ahead, add some glue. Make sure to get both sides. If you've got a brush, it's great to brush this out to where it's not in one big bead. But for this, not super important to do that if you don't want to. So, it's all glued up. Make sure you have rags around where you can wipe up any glue that drips. So this is going to be the part that drips. You don't need to go all the way because when you're using a finishing nail, there's a little dimple on there. I don't know if you guys are going to be able to see that very well, but that's to where you can use a punch to put in the rest of the way, and when your hammer doesn't leave a face mark on the finished product. Perfect. So we're going to leave it like that. We're going to let it all set up, and then we'll come back with our punch and put those nails in the rest of the way. But just to show you what you're going to do when we do that, so I'll probably do that off camera because it's really boring to watch. You place the head of this into the dimple in the nail. And hit it in. You just want it just below the surface. That way we can put some wood putty over it and sand it down and finish it, and it'll look just like there were no nails here at all. That's what we did down here. You'll see a little bit just because the coloring isn't just right, but for the most part, pretty much invisible once you're done staining and putting the polyurethane on. So I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna go downstairs, cut the last shelf down to size, and let this glue dry up, and then we'll come back, nail those in, and put the top shelf in. All right, next shelves are cut. Let's go ahead and install them. Same thing as before, except for this one, we're gonna use two separate 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch spacers just because I ran out of 6-footers and I had a bunch of 3-footers left. So we're just gonna use 2 of those instead of 1, but process stays the same. All right, guys, we're back. We're gonna go ahead and install the shelves in this while the putty on the top one is drying. These, we decided not to go with adjustable shelves. If you're doing adjustable shelves, you just do a couple pinholes going up. You just create a template for that and go. But we wanted ours like locked in place, super solid. So we went ahead, we're gonna do 2 pocket holes on each side, and that should be enough to hold it in there just because it's not super wide. It's only just under 2 feet. So we're just gonna go ahead, throw those in there, and then reattach the doors. And that's probably as far as we'll get tonight. We might get a little bit of sanding on this one and this one, just so we can hit a second coat of putty on it. Because there's a couple spots that I might have made a mistake on, but Hazelhurst is within earshot, so I can't say where I made the mistake. All right, guys, let me throw these in and I'll show you the finished product. All right, moment of truth. Will it work when it's on camera?
Great job. I love how the lines line up.
On the door?
Yeah.
Right? It's kind of cool.
You did such a good job making it flow.
Thanks, baby.
Yeah.
I think it looks good.
You too.
So we've got 3 shelves in here. I still gotta spackle and stain it, but I like the soft closed door hinges. I can just like start closing it. I don't have to like close it softly.
Yeah. Love that.
But I can adjust them if they a little bit if we need to. Because right now it's like really close. All right, everybody, back. All the putty's been sanded down. All the shelves are sanded to 220 as well as these ones. I went ahead and put the same iron-on banding that we did downstairs in the garage. I did use a different brand this time. I went to Lowe's instead of Home Depot. And this one worked a lot better. So this is the brand I used this time. It's Bandit. And it went on and it was super tacky, and I was able to move it with the iron and then push it into place, and it's on there rock solid compared to the other one that I'd go back and glue a couple spots. So definitely recommend this one over the Home Depot version, but it might have just been a bad batch I got. So at this point, we're gonna go ahead and put 1 coat of pre-stain on there, and we're gonna apply that with a foam brush. We don't wanna put it on super light. We wanna give it enough that it soaks into the wood and lets it absorb it. And any extra we're gonna wipe down with a cloth. And then tomorrow morning, I'm gonna sand it back down to 220 grit, and we're gonna put 2 coats of finish to match the cabinet we built earlier. And at that point, we can go ahead and put on our final coat of polyurethane for the entire project. And this one will be done for the top half, and then we can start on this bottom area eventually. All right, guys, we're back. It's been 2 hours. I just gotta hit this really quick with some 220 grit sandpaper to take down any of the grains that got risen due to the stain. And as you can see, it's already looking a lot closer, but this is still 1 coat short, so it'll darken up a little bit more with this last coat, and that's gonna make it match the other section that we did earlier. And then we're gonna have to let that sit for about 24 hours before we can put on the polyurethane, so probably come back in 2 days and hit it with the polyurethane, and then I can pass this project over to the home decorator, aka my girlfriend, because I have no skill at that. Welcome back. Today is the final day of working on these cabinets. So excited to be finally done with the top half. All we have left is a clear coat of poly to help protect them, and then this time tomorrow they'll be ready for Hazel to use. So tune in 30 seconds for you guys. For me, it will be a full day to see the finished product. All right, guys, out with the broken shelves since we've got the built-ins now. Destroyed.